make sure your mic, oh, good job. That's right. Thank you. Sorry, I'm setting up my voice recorder here. Just as a backup. Here we go. Good evening. I would like to call the October 2nd, 2023 meeting of the Town of Cicero Zoning Board of Appeals to order. Ms. Robeson, please call the roll.
Here.
Ms. Luckett? Here. Mr. Mays?
Here.
Mr. Stanton?
Here. Please take note of the fire exits located in the front and the rear of this room. At this time, please silence all cell phones and pagers. Please note that tonight's meeting is being simulcast on YouTube and is also being recorded. At this time, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Has everyone read the minutes of the September 11th, 2023 meeting? Are there any corrections? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
When you're ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes to the motion.
Ms. Luckett?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Mays?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes to the motion. The Cicero Town Board acknowledges the importance of full public participation at all public meetings, and therefore we urge all who wish to address those in attendance to please come to the microphone located in the front of the room. At this time, I will make a motion that all actions taken tonight are type 2 actions and have a negative impact that is no impact on the environment unless otherwise indicated. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Robeson, please call the roll.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes to the motion.
Ms. Luckett?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Mays?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes to the motion. We have proof that all items on tonight's agenda have been advertised as directed by law. I will briefly review the process for tonight's meeting for the benefit of those present that have never been before the Zoning Board of Appeals. Each applicant will have an opportunity to describe their project. The board will then ask questions about the project. I will then open a public hearing where people will be able to speak for or against the proposed variance. The applicant will then be given the opportunity to respond to public input and provide additional information. Board members will then be allowed to ask follow-on questions. The board will openly discuss amongst ourselves the 5 factors that contribute to the final decision. And please note, this board does not have a pre-agenda meeting, so there is no prior discussion of cases outside of this meeting. And finally, a motion will be made either approving or denying the requested variance, seconded and voted upon. Our first and only case tonight is an application for a property at 7611 Tuttle Road. The applicant is Sandra Weddingfield. If you wouldn't mind coming up and describing your project for us, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I moved into my house in 2009. And still has the original siding that was there when I bought the house, which is wood siding, and beginning to need some repairs and upgrades. So I decided I'd like to improve the outside appearance of the residence. And so I did sign a contract with Comfort Windows, who's going to put vinyl siding on it. It's not done yet, but it should happen this fall before the snow flies. And so while I was getting into that, it also will have new window framing around the outside and the outside of the door. And I decided that it would enhance the look of the house and my experience living there to have a roof over the front entrance. And so that's what this project is about. unfortunately, when my contractor went to the zoning office, he didn't realize that the permit would need a variance, or the permit application would not go through without a variance request. So that's why I'm here. The roof itself is a shed style roof, which will have metal roofing over it, and it will have 3 posts in the front. It's designed to be 20 feet wide and 8 feet out. I had the steps that originally have been there for a number of years were starting to degrade. They were cement with blocks in the front, and the blocks were starting to degrade and either needed repair or replace. So I have since replaced those, and the stairs come out over 7 feet. So an 8-foot roof would be just slightly overhanging the stairs, and then would give room for seating, covered seating outside. So that's the basic plan. There'll be 3 posts that will be put into the ground, 4 feet in, and cement poured into sono tubes. And that's basically it.
So the rest of the surface underneath this roof, it's gonna remain grass or
No, it's cement.
it's concrete right
Yeah,
now?
it's concrete. Yeah.
What questions? So for the board, one of the things for consideration in the codes office was nice enough to put some definitions in front of us tonight. This is a somewhat unique situation because we have a private road here, which is, it's not town owned, but we also have a right of way for a sanitary sewer. So what the codes office is asking us for is a determination of, should we be using the sanitary sewer right of way for the definition of where the front yard is, which is what the variance is written for right now versus not, I guess. My personal opinion is that because there's a right of way here, it should there ever come a time where the town wants to assume ownership of this, that right of way would likely get pushed into whatever acquisition that the town does. So sticking with that right of way is probably the right thing to do to keep this going and within code for the future. Not saying that the town would assume this road, but you've got to think for the eventuality.
Makes sense.
Steve, was that a good enough synopsis of what?
Yes, I think so. The fact you brought up the sanitary sewer right was a good point, as well as, it is a right of access. It's a right of way for accessing neighboring parcels. So it's a street,
That's a very good point that I did not think about. So there's a potential for construction equipment down here too, which is one of the other reasons why you should probably stay away from it.
Yeah.
Is the porch that you replaced the same size as the one that was there before?
No,
It's larger.
it's actually not a porch now. It's level with the entrance sidewalk, and it's more like a patio.
Gotcha. Okay. I was looking at your.
Yeah, the original picture that I gave you was a raised platform.
Okay.
So is there just a step that gets up to the front door?
I have a picture of it on my phone. Would you like to see it?
I think I probably
the
have a
new-
picture of it myself on the phone.
I think you have some photographs in your packet.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, but that
Oh, there
was
you
done, yeah, that's approximation, but actually the stairs have now been already replaced, and I do have a photo of that on my phone, if that would help you visualize what's going on.
Oh, I see them here.
Sure, why not?
So there's a before,
Okay.
and this is where the blocks were starting to degrade and need replacement or repaired, and this is the
That's it.
replacement.
Okay.
That's the replacement.
Mhm.
This was what was there before.
Okay.
And so now it's just, it's not raised at all. It's, except for just a patio level, the same
Mhm.
as the sidewalk. So the sidewalk goes right into the patio and then the stairs are on top of the patio.
You think you'll ever enclose that whole room, make it a indoor?
I looked into that, ka-ching, ka-ching. And, it was just so expensive that by the time I was going to do the siding and everything else, I just decided I could live without it. I would have the option maybe of doing roll down screens or something. Attached to the roof. Assuming that can
Mhm.
happen. And, but rather than, not planning on closing it like a patio room.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions at this point? Okay, so with that, I will open the public hearing. Would anyone speak for this? Would anyone speak against this? At this time, I will close the public hearing. Any further questions? Okay. So would someone like to review the 5 factors and make a motion? If not, I'll take care of it.
I can do it.
All right, very good.
All right, so whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties, I said no. I think it'll be a nice addition to the home, actually. I think it'll also increase the longevity of the front of your home, especially your door and that area around there. And we also received the email from your neighbor, I believe it was,
Yes, Hans Heidemann.
acknowledging that you've done some nice work on the property and so on and so forth.
Mr. Daniel,
Agree.
Ms. Luckett,
I agree.
Mr. Stanton.
I agree.
Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance. I said no, that technically the home is already non-conforming. You're already within that 30-foot setback. So if you want to have a front porch, you're just increasing the non-conformity. There's no way around it.
Mr. Daniel,
Agree.
Ms. Luckett,
I agree.
Mr. Stanton.
I agree.
Whether the requested variance is substantial, I said yes. You're asking for a variance of 12.7 feet or roughly 43%. It is substantial, but not necessarily a reason to deny.
Mr. Daniel,
Agree.
Ms. Luckett,
Agree.
Mr. Stanton.
I agree.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? I said no, I don't see how it would affect any physical or environmental conditions.
Mr. Daniel,
Agree.
Ms. Luckett,
I agree. It's in the floodplain, but you're not. It's already impervious surface there. You're not increasing.
Mr. Stanton.
I agree, and I would add that in looking at some of the other structures on this street, this proposed addition really isn't any further closer to the right of way than anybody else's.
Okay, and whether the alleged difficulty was self-created? Yes, just by you wanting a front porch roof, it is self-created, but again, not a reason to deny.
Mr. Daniel,
Agree.
Ms. Luckett,
I agree.
Mr. Stanton.
I agree.
Okay, with that, I will make a motion on behalf of Sandra G. Weddingfield at 7611 Tuttle Road, tax map 074.-01-53.0, an area variance to allow the expansion of a non-conforming structure for the addition of an 8-foot by 20-foot covered entry having a front yard setback of 17.3 feet, where a minimum distance of 30 feet is required.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Robison, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes to the motion.
Ms. Luckett,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Mays.
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Stanton.
Yes to the motion. Motion carried. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So with that, our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, November 13th. Does anyone have any other business before the board? There being no other business before this board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Good job. Night, everybody.
Good night. You learn something new every day.